I want to apologize before the video actually starts that the audio isn't the greatest. My mic kind of sucks. So I'm truly sorry. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a weapons tier list for semi-beginners. So I would say like golds, silvers maybe. I don't know. Kind of in that range of weapons that you would want to be using. I mean, obviously, anyone can use these guns, but it's like guns that would be easier for beginners to pick up on. I'm a plat myself, so I figured, like, you know, there's a lot of pro standpoints on weapons, but I figured I would do my own from like a plat standpoint. So starting off, there's not really any weapons that aren't at all usable, so we're just gonna skip the D tier and go straight into the C tier, which is the B2020 and RE45. The RE45, I mean, you can use it off spawn, like no problem. It's really, you know, decent, as you can see. But I think the only problem with it is that the magazine, it's too small. I mean, yeah, you can slap a gold mag on it and, you know, it'll, if I can aim, for one. I mean, yeah, it's got good damage, but it just doesn't compete against like the other weapons in this list. So it's a B tier, C tier. P2020, it's P2020. Last season, or season 8, it was actually pretty good. It could be used probably an A tier weapon because of hammer point, but it got removed, so it's not good anymore. So yeah, that's your C tier. The only one, you only want to use it off a spawn. I think that would be the worst case scenario that you have to pick it up. Starting us off in the B tier, guns that are usable and can actually semi be played with. Like they're not bad, but they're not great, I would say. And so that's going to be the Mastiff. Starting us off. Yeah, it's a shotgun. Yeah, pros use it a lot, but this is the problem with it. I mean, the damage is bad compared to the PK. I mean, it would have been good when the PK was in care pack, and it was, but now it just, if I can aim, for one, I mean, 84 to the head, where the PK does like 104 or something like that. So really, it's just out 112. It's just outgunned, I feel like, and it's really hard to use, I feel like. So personally, I think that is a B tier weapon. Next up is I know a lot of people like to use it, but it's a 30-30. Yeah, it has good damage, but it just doesn't really seem to fit, I guess. I don't know. I personally don't like the weapon. I just don't find it a gun that I would want to be using into endgame. The fire rate, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's because the way I play. So I mean, really, the guns are based off of how you play. If you play, you know, right up in people's faces, then you might want to stick to like an Eva and Route 301. But if you want to stay back and snipe, 30-30, it's not a bad choice. That's why it's usable, in my opinion. Next up, it's gonna be bow check. It was good in season 9 when it was first released. It absolutely shredded everyone, and it was at least an A tier weapon. But now it just, I don't see it being picked up a lot. I don't personally pick it up, and I mean, it's really just not that good. I mean, it's hard to hit. You have to have decent aim. I know if this was like a Predator ranking, then this gun would probably be like, you know, A tier, you know, higher up there, because it's good, but it takes a lot of skill to aim. I mean, if you have the skill, go for it, because it is it does have a lot of damage, but it's just hard to hit, so it's B tier because of it. I think that's gonna wrap up B tier for us. And starting off A tier is gonna be, you know, bottom of A tier. It's gonna be the G7. It's really good. I rocked it for like most of season, I want to say 5 and 6. I was using it quite a lot, because it is just a beast of a gun. I mean, it shreds. The only problem I find with it is iron sights. Obviously, slap the sight on it, so much better. But it's just, again, it doesn't compete against with the other weapons in this game. I mean, I don't think that it really, I don't know. It's just not a gun that I would want to pick up a lot, but I will if I have to. And I will definitely be able to shred with that gun, because I know that it's good. Okay, next up is the Devotion. Without a turbocharger, if you can aim, it's really strong. It is definitely a very usable weapon, even with or without turbocharger. With, it's even more of a beast. Just absolutely shredding anyone. With turbocharger, it's going to be an S tier weapon, but I want to do this with, like, you know, no turbocharger, so A tier. And then right behind it, or right in front of it, I should say, is the Havoc. Havoc, really strong gun, but why am I melee? I feel like the only downfall of it is, I don't know, recoil. It's just kind of weird. I don't really like it, but it is definitely a strong weapon, and I will pick it up if I have to. I will not mind a Havoc at all, because it shreds. Again, turbocharger just makes it so much better if you can aim, which I have lost the ability to do. It's an absolute beast of a gun, and again, with turbocharger, easy S tier. But it's just, it needs that attachment, but it needs the attachment to be good, so it's A tier. Okay. Next up is gonna be the, I want to say, snipers. So all the snipers are in the same spot, really. The Sentinel, the Charge Rifle, and the Longbow. Charge Rifle is good for farming, and then the Sentinel is the Mini Kraber of Apex Legends. So, personally, I will not pick up the snipers just because it's not my playstyle. If I get it off spawn, I will be able to, you know, absolutely shred with it, but it's just, I mean, the damage is good, but the fact that it's a sniper, it just makes it A tier. Longbow, again, it's actually more of a, it did get its buff, so it does 60 damage instead of 55, which is actually kind of a big difference between, you know, the old Longbow and the new Longbow. I know people will say that the Longbow is still trash and shouldn't ever be picked up because it's the worst sniper in the game, but I will say it is usable. I've gotten a couple of 3Ks with it, I will not lie. it is a very good gun, and I would not mind having it in my loadout for sometimes. Okay, next up for the A tier is gonna be the Rampage. I know it's very kind of controversial right now between whether it's good or not and how it's broken. I will say the only reason that this gun is not S tier is because of the fire rate. If the fire rate had been better, it would be an easy S tier for this weapon. Because I mean that's just unneeded. But the fire rate and the way it feels to aim, it just doesn't really match. So I say it's very not so good. I don't know, I haven't really been using the Rampage a lot. I know it is a very good gun, but I just kind of veer from picking it up because I personally feel it's so hard to aim on a moving target, you know, like an Octane or a Pathy trying to, you know, run away. It's really hard to aim. I don't know why, but it just is. So I kind of stay away from it, but it's a very good gun. I'll definitely use it off spawn, and if that's the only thing I find, I'll probably be able to win the game with it. But it's also an LMG, so yeah. Okay. Next up for the A tier is gonna be the Flatline. I know that's kind of stupid to put the Flatline in A tier, but the thing is with the Flatline, it is a very strong weapon, okay? Very strong. But this is also a beginner's, beginner's guide to weapons that they should be using. And the Flatline, it just doesn't fit with beginner category. I mean, yeah, if you take purple stock off or put the purple stock on, it's good, but without a purple stock, it's kind of recoil is kind of hard, especially from like long distances. Again, I've played the game for a few years, so a little bit better aim. But I'm not saying people that start out are bad, but I mean, it's a very strong weapon, and I kind of debated putting it in S or A, but overall, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't fit for beginners, and that's what this guide is about, so it's an A. Okay, probably, I got 2 more guns for A tier, and then we're gonna move on to S tier. L-Star got a major buff this season, and it is just an absolute beast of a gun. I mean, like, that cooldown, yeah, that is insane. But the only problem with it is, I'll pick that right back up. It's gonna be the I mean, the flare's not as bad, but the bullet velocity I feel like is kind of slow. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the L-Star. I know it's a very strong gun, and I will pick it up if I have to. But I don't really think that it's, I mean, I know a lot of pros will use it, but it's just, I don't know. Like I said, that gun troubles me, because I personally don't like it. But anyway, next up is going to be the Mozam. And I know it's, you know, considered one of the worst guns in the game, but I don't think that deserves the worst gun in the game category. I mean, that is very strong, and I can go back here, and that was supposed to go differently, but it's fine. I mean, I can go all the way up here, right? If I can aim. I know this gun is a very powerful weapon from long range. Even though it's supposed to be a shotgun. It just, it's very good. It is a very, very good weapon. I will actually sometimes run it, if I feel like just being that way. So that's gonna wrap up our A tier, and we're moving on to the S tier now, which are the best guns in the game, personally. They're very strong. They are very easy to use, and they are S tier, right? Okay, so starting us off, we got the Hemlock. Very powerful. Very powerful. Single fire. It's actually an absolute beast of a weapon. 20 to the body and 35 to the head. I think it did get its nerf, so you should do 40, I believe. Could be wrong. But I mean, there's not really much to say about the Hemlock. It's a, you know, obviously it's a burst weapon, and bursts are strong in this game. But really, I think that no more needs to be said about it. It's a very strong weapon, and I will use it a lot, actually. Okay. Next up is going to be the Prowler, recently added back to the floor loot. Thank you, Apex. I love this weapon. I love it. It's just, I know a lot of people are saying, like, especially this season, like how it's super broken and it needs to be nerfed. That is true, but think it was one of the best guns in the game back in, you know, like, I don't know, season all the way up till, oh god, when did it get added to the care pack? Whenever it got added to the care pack the season before. But I mean, like, people complain about the Prowler when Arthur 1 can do this, and they say like the Prowler is OP, but I mean, really, is it? I mean, yeah, it's a little bit strong, but I don't think that it's OP. I mean, I think that it is. Maybe it could use a little bit of a damage nerf, possibly, for the headshots, I believe. Let me just, I mean, because that's kind of one shot, or a burst, which is 5 rounds, does 1 on 5. Yeah, that can get a little bit of a nerf. It's like the wingman before the scope piercer got removed, except it's a lot easier to hit headshots with. So it does need a damage nerf on the headshots, I will say, but otherwise I think it's a very strong gun. I think it should remain where it is, mostly. Okay, next up is gonna be the where is that? Okay, it's gonna be the wingman. I know this is about like guns, easy to use, but also this is a little bit biased because I love the wingman. I love running it. Very strong gun, very powerful weapon. The only problem with it, which I'm kind of debating A or S, it's how hard it is to aim. I mean, obviously, that's not gonna happen in a real game unless you're really lucky. Like, I don't know. This gun is very good, and I will always pick it up if I find one. But I guess I should say it does take a lot of time to get used to, and like it's really hard to aim, and it's really hard to use in general. Even pros struggle hitting their shots with it, just because it's that type of weapon. But once you do hit your shots, it is insanely good, and it gives you the best feeling in the world once you do it. Okay, next up is gonna be the last shotgun, which is the EVA 8. EVA 8, really strong. I absolutely love this gun. Depends on how I'm feeling, whether I'll run it or not. But it is just a beast, a weapon. Personally, I think it is obviously the best shotgun in the game, which is why it's S. It's got great damage. It's got insane amount of fire rate, and all around it's just really good. Obviously it's kind of annoying to go against, so if you feel like being that type of person, go ahead. It's great. You'll definitely get a benefit out of it. I don't know, not much to say about this. It's great. Put a purple shotgun bolt on it and it's great. Take a purple shotgun bolt off of it and it's great. That's the type of weapon that it is. I mean, yeah, a lot slower fire rate, but I mean, really, still great. Okay, that's enough about the Eva. Absolutely love this gun. Next up is the Volt, and I am on R99 side of things when it comes to Volt or R9. R9 is just better, which is why it's also an S. Volt, great damage. Recoil, basically straight up, so if you just pull down, you're gonna hit every shot for the most part. Does have a little bit of side recoil, but that doesn't really matter because it's super minimal. That is with the purple stock, I guess. It's a very good gun. I will use it a lot. Even sometimes over an R9, just because I'll be having a bad day, and you know, R9 isn't really the go-to weapon for when you're having a bad aim day. So I'll pick up the Volt and absolutely shred kids. Okay, two more in the S tier, which are the last guns, and obviously R9 is next. It's a very powerful weapon, just like most other weapons in S tier. It's got great fire rate, but that's also kind of the downside of it. You have to be very accurate with this weapon in order for it to be good. It does do less damage than the Volt, obviously, but it does also have a lot better fire rate than the Volt. And to me, it's a little, I don't know, it's kind of, yeah, it's disappointing at times, giving you that little, if I can shoot one bullet, 9 damage, you know. You shoot a whole mag, miss every shot, and then that one shot that you do hit, it's 9 damage. It can be a little bit annoying, I will say. But also, I mean, it's so good to me personally, and the recoil is insanely easy. I mean, it goes up and then it stops. So really, like, what I mean by that is that aim at the ground and then just absolutely beam the guy, or you just pull down. That's all you have to do. Just pull down. Okay. Next up is the Arthur 1. Best gun in the game. It is the gun that everyone wants to use. Even if you're having, like, the worst day of your life and you cannot aim for anything, like, the Arthur 1's gonna be there, bro. And it is gonna shred no matter how bad your aim is being for that day. Okay, it is the best gun in the game. I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with it. The fire rate's good, the damage is good, the recoil is insanely easy. I absolutely love it. It is, I mean, it's insane. I mean, no attachments, except for sight. No attachments, still great. That's how good it is. I mean, It is my favorite weapon in the game. I will always pick one up if I see it. Always. No matter what. There's an R9, or not R9, R301. I'm picking it up. And R9, R301 is actually my loadout for the most part. Sometimes I'll go R301 EVA, R9 Volt, R9 Wingman, but, you know, depends on the day. So yeah, that's my Apex Legends tier list ranking and weapon ranking. And yeah, I didn't do heirloom weapons, but obviously they're all S tier except for maybe, you know, this guy. Because I mean, like, alternator, bro. Alternator this season, it's scary. It is terrifying. Kraber, obviously, S tier. Triple take, S tier. Spitfire, I mean, S tier. Yeah. So, that's my Apex Legends weapon tier list for lower ranks. Guns are easier to use, I guess. Wingman was a little bit biased, I will say. Really, if this gun, it's kind of, again, it's like really strong. It does have, I think, the best. Yeah, I think that it is one of the strongest guns in the game, but it's really hard to use, which might make it A tier for beginners. So, yeah, that's all, and thanks for watching. I am sorry, I did forget to do the PK. So to rank the PK, I would say it's B tier, just because it's 9 damage of shot, I feel like, most of the time, so it's not really a go-to weapon. So B tier, it's usable, but it's not that great.